Hello, hello. Ooh, y'all, I am back as we do this thing called life. Y'all, this again, today this is my third time. And last time, y'all, I got all the way through it and then saw that it was not even recording. I was like at the end. Whew, okay. But here we go. We are back to do this thing called life. We've been talking about Jesus, his emotions, his temptations, um, just that what made him tick, his relationships, the ups and the downs, because his relationships went through things. And we've just been talking about the man because oftentimes we get so caught up in our Savior that we forget our brother. And our brother, our big brother, we are joint heir with him. Our big brother came to walk out this thing called life to show us how to do it. And so that's what we're going to take a look at today. Yesterday, we were talking about the account of Lazarus's death and the things that were surrounding it. And we talked about how they were friends. Jesus was friends with Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Those were his buddies. He would eat over there. He whenever he was in Bethany, that was his place to go. That was his hangout. It's like they were BFFs. Um, they were close knit. And when Lazarus became ill, very ill, it says that Mary and Martha sent for Jesus, told them to tell him the one that he loves, Lazarus, his friend, is very sick. And you can imagine they expected him to come back with whoever it was that they sent, but he didn't come. And in yesterday's reading in John 11, it says that, and I've been reading out of the New Living Translation, and it says, so although Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, he stayed where he was 2 more days. And we were talking yesterday about how, you know, despite your love for people, you have to remain in obedience to what God said. And so um I want to read well, before I read, let's pick it apart a little more cuz I didn't yesterday. Um but let's think about how Lazarus must have felt. Jesus is his boy. Like he is on his deathbed. And I'm sure he probably thought Jesus sensed him and would come. He was Jesus, right? I mean, yeah, this was the person that they believed to be the savior of the world. This was this miracle worker, but he was their friend. And that's the thing. This is my friend, my friend. And I'm sure he expected Jesus to come. This was his friend who happened to be a miracle worker. Okay. His friend who happened to be able to heal the sick. His friend who knew things that they knew had to come from God. This master teacher turned water into wine, opened blinded eyes, unstopped deaf ears, made mute people to talk, cast out demons. All this, my friend. Let's call on him. You know, when Lazarus was so sick, Mary and Martha finally said, okay, he must not sense this thing. Send somebody. Y'all go tell him the one that he loves. Yeah, tell him Lazarus is very sick. And I know they thought he was coming, y'all. I know they thought he was coming in their time of need, in their time of desperation. And Lazarus is getting sicker and sicker. They send for Jesus. And whoever they sent returns without Jesus. They come back and there's no Jesus. We aren't told what Jesus said to the people that came and told him, but he didn't go. And then Lazarus dies. And can you imagine some of the conversations between Mary and Martha? Like, I thought he loved us, though. We cooked for him. He would stay with us sometimes. He'd sit here for hours and hours. We had people we didn't even know in and out of our house because of Jesus. And now when we need him, where is he? We were always there for him. We always did for him. And now we need him. And he didn't even care enough to come. He didn't send a message back. He didn't do anything. So where is Jesus now? Where is he? I mean, I just think about the conversations that they must have had. So did it all mean nothing, Martha? I mean, me and you fell out over Jesus before. I can imagine Mary saying, "You remember that time when you were cooking?" "Oh, yeah, I remember." I remember because I was ticked off. I was in there working my butt off, and you in there sitting at his feet. Yeah, I was sitting at his feet because I love him. I love him. Nobody, nobody else settles me like Jesus does. Nobody else, made things come to life like Jesus did. And I can imagine Mary saying, "That's why that time I went and I washed his feet and I dried them with my hair because I love him so. And I thought he loved us." Just my interpretation. And then Jesus decides to go. And Lazarus has already been sick. I'm sorry, Lazarus has already been in the tomb for 4 days, and Jesus shows up. And it says, I'm going to read John 11:17 through 22. It says, when Jesus arrived at Bethany, he was told that Lazarus had already been in his grave for 4 days. Bethany was only a few miles down the road from Jerusalem, and many of the people had come to console Martha and Mary in their loss. When Martha got word that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary stayed in the house. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if only you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask." And so one of the things that jumped out at me, y'all, Mary didn't go. This Mary who loved Jesus so much, this Mary who had faced ridicule because of her deep love for him, she was hurt and she didn't go. I feel like Mary was kind of like in that numb place, like I'm over it. I'm over it. My brother's gone now. What you coming for now? Where were you, Jesus? Where were you? Um, so Mary didn't go, but Martha went. And Martha said, "Lord, if only you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. It didn't have to be this way, but you wouldn't come." And y'all, can you imagine what Jesus felt like? How did he feel? I mean, he knew that this was going to be for the glory of God, but he was a man, y'all, and he loved these people. How did he feel when he felt like he'd let them down? How did he feel when he was doing what he knew God said to do and nobody understood? What do you do when nobody understands? Maybe even you don't understand why you have to do what you're doing, but you know what God said. What do you do in that case? You obey. You obey God no matter the cost. You obey because in the end, everybody involved is going to be better off because of your obedience. And so I encourage you today, when you're in a place of not being understood, when you're a place where your heart is pulling one way and your spirit is pulling the other, when you're feeling and sensing and even hearing the cries of the people pulling you, but you're hearing the voice of God say, stay put. What do? You obey God, no matter the cost, no matter the pain, no matter the pressure, no matter the misunderstandings, no matter the talk, that chatter, no matter what is said or what is done. Obey God at all cost, because it will pay off in the end. Whew, we're gonna keep walking through this tomorrow, okay? Oh, y'all, this has been One More Minute with Marcy. I'll be back tomorrow with another moment of momentum producing motivation. Until then, stay encouraged. And remember, you gotta flutter before you can fly. But flying is in your future.